Okay, it is 7 o'clock. So good evening, everybody, and welcome all to this festive Economy and Place Scrutiny Committee being held on today, Monday, the 15th of December, 2025. We'll jump straight to the agenda. Item 1 is apologies. I have a number of apologies this evening. I have apologies from Councillor Robert Betley-Smith, and he has been substituted by Councillor Mark Holland. Councillor Jill Burnett-Faulkner, who has been substituted by Councillor Nick Crisp, and Councillor Amy Bryant send their apologies. I also have apologies from Councillor Edgington Plunkett, who may be late. Don't think there are any more apologies. So we'll move to item 2, which is declarations of interest. Any members have any declarations of interest for the items of business for this evening? No raise of hands, that's good. So item 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting, which can be found on pages 3 to 8 of your agenda. I have one small minor detail on the previous minutes for the previous meeting, and that is that Councillor Gorton's name was also misplaced and by called Gordon in one of the paragraphs. That is the only thing that I can bring up. Anybody else? No. So can we agree to those minutes? Yes, agreed. Item 4 is the first item of business for this evening, which is the planning, enforcement and performance, which is found on pages 9 to 16 of the agenda. I turn to my right now and ask either the portfolio holder or Craig to present this report, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We'll do this, I think, as a double act if members are happy with that. This is off the back, as I'm sure people have seen from the agenda. This is a report back from last year when we moved to a more streamlined version of enforcement. Enforcement, of course, is an important function for the council. We are trying our very best to keep abreast of this. It's obviously something which varies because it depends on members of the public very often drawing attention to these bits and pieces. The important thing I think here is to be seen particularly in paragraph 2.9, which is to emphasise, if you like, the informal aspects of this. In other words, that very often these things can be resolved if they are talked through rather than progressing to absolute formal procedures. Also, I think if we look at paragraph 2.7, you can see that once again, that quite a lot of things, although there are complaints and obviously they have to be investigated, don't in fact result in enforcement action. It's not always the case that when people are aggrieved, they're aggrieved for legal reasons, so to speak. One of the things we've been trying to do to deal with these matters is to produce something which is called a dashboard. There's a somewhat unfortunate metaphor in the report speaking about growing a dashboard. I'm not sure how you do this. Perhaps you pour extra oil on it. I don't know. But nonetheless, the idea there is to make the data a bit slicker so that we can identify where there are key areas where there are problems. But for the details of this, I think I will pass over to Craig now, who can perhaps take you through the minutiae of the dashboard or the various dials or however one wants to talk about it.
Okay, Councillor. Yes, I mean, the dashboard is really something that we have developed as a tool to inform management actions and help officers understand where they are with their caseloads. So what we tried to do is to take the data that comes into the council by way of complaints, claimed breaches of planning control, and put them into a handy little dashboard which is on the council's intranet effectively, and allows officers and managers to see where we are. So for example, we can locate by geographical positions where the cases have been registered with us and the cases that we are following up by way of investigation. We can draw down the detail about the nature of the complaint, you know, the nature of the claimed breach. And we can follow the investigations that officers are undertaking as part of their work to decide whether we do take any action or whether we follow a more informal route, as Councillor Fear has just touched upon. So that's it's been developed this year. It's early stages of its gestation in terms of implementation, but we're hoping that it will help us as officers and managers bring more up-to-date information back to you in 12 months' time, and ensure that on a daily and weekly basis that we are on the case in terms of knowing what breaches are out there and what actions we can be taking. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, gentlemen. I'll open it up. Do any members wish to question either the portfolio holder or the officer? Councillor Gordon.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of questions, if I may, around workload and performance. One of the statistics in the report is that between September 2024 and September 2025, 300 claim breaches were reported to the council. I wondered how that compared with, say, the previous year. I get the sense in the report that actually more and more allegations of planning breaches are being reported. So that'd be interesting. My second question around performance is that there's a reference in the report to managers working with colleagues to identify actions that can be taken to improve performance. Could you give the committee any examples of those actions? Thank you.
Through you, Chair. I think we're seeing around about roughly 250 to 300 per calendar year of breaches being reported to us. I can't think of the figure that we put into the report last year, but it was around about 270, I think, off the top of my head. So 300 sounds about right. So I think we are seeing more people generally reporting their concerns, even as we say in 2.7, that a lot of those aren't then borne out by the investigations that we undertake. But I think that just shows you that people are concerned about what they see around their surroundings, whether it's members, officers, residents, businesses in the borough, which is a good thing. People appreciate the environment and they want to see things being done properly. And if you need a permission, you get that permission. If you don't, then build out the permission the way you should have done, then at least it should be reported. So I think we are seeing, I think there is an upward trend. And I think that is just maybe just a reflection of people, as I say, being very wary of their surroundings and wanting things to be done properly. In terms of management actions, one of the things that we do say in the report, we're quite honest about it, is that performance is very much a reflection of the nature of the breaches that are reported to us. Some of those can be investigated very quickly and dismissed because of the nature of the actual breach or claim breach. A lot of them aren't, worthy of further investigation, or we feel that it's not relevant to expedite any action. So the complexity of the cases can influence performance. And because of the nature of the resources that we put into enforcement, we have a dedicated planning enforcement officer, and then we also rely on development management officers to carry a workload as part of their overall caseload. Sometimes we have to prioritise something over something else. So that, again, is a reflection of the nature of the cases, the enforcement, the complexity, and just the number of cases that we have at any one time that need to be looked into. And obviously it all goes back to our enforcement plan, which you as members agreed back in November 2023, which sets out a priority of cases that we look at. So high priority we look at within 2 days, medium within 10 days, and then lesser important cases within 20 days. Now that's in cases of looking at the actual nature of the complexity of the matter, and then deciding what actions follow on from that. So, it's not an easy subject, is enforcement. And one of the things, again, we try and press upon people is that it's a discretionary power available to the local planning authority. So I think there's an assumption, rightly or wrongly, that when somebody reports something will happen. Well, of course, that isn't always the case. So that's, again, something that we need to do by way of educating our residents. No. Thank you.
Any further questions? Oh, okay. So I will move and ask members to agree to the recommendations and note the contents of this report. This is clearly carried. We'll move on to item 5 then, which is the Newcastle under Lyme the Newcastle under Lyme Borough Local Plan 2040. This report is found on pages 17 to 22 of your agenda. I will hand back over to Craig if he'd like to present this report.
It's all right. I'm more than happy to be crushed. I usually am. So we are now almost at the very, very end of the current stage of the local plan, which is the consultation on the so-called main modifications. And again, I draw members' attention to the fact that this is a techno term. It sounds very scary and big. It actually is just the techno term for change. And those changes aren't, in fact, particularly large in this regard. I received this morning, in fact, a note from Mr. Clark, who's the man in charge of looking at this material. And at the moment, we've had 64 comments from 26 consultees on this matter. Experience suggests, and it was certainly true at every other stage of the consultation, that the volume of contributions comes in at the last moment. So it's perfectly possible that before midnight on Wednesday, I think I'm right in saying, that when the gate closes, so to speak, potentially there could be an avalanche of extra bits and pieces. Our officers have been working concurrently with this to compile these. They will be sent to the inspector for her comments. And we are then in the hands of the inspector as to whether she's going to ask us what we feel about these comments or simply take the comments on board. What I cannot do this evening is offer people a firm timeline. What I can say is that we have hit the timeline that we have set ourselves, that our officers have been duly processing this material and not sort of sitting just to wait for it to all come in and then box it up. It is being boxed up as we go along. And indeed, the council has been thinking about those comments as well, just in case the inspector wants to think about that. So I'd like to say that I think we're on time. Again, of course, this has been a highly technical consultation that has been emphasised throughout. It's been a consultation about those main modifications, not about the plan per se. I don't know if Craig wishes to add anything or correct anything that I've just said.
Through you, Chair. No, that was fine. I mean, as Councillor Fear says, we've had 64 comments registered with us today. Some more emails come in today that will now be registered. Those comments are the ones that we are going to forward on to the inspector, and we're also doing that parallel piece of work for if we're asked for our views on what's being said. I mean, the important thing with the main modifications is these were the modifications, the changes that the inspector has said need to be made to the plan to make it sound. So we passed the legal test. This is the soundness test, which is the other facet of local plan examination. And that has taken quite a bit of time because there's been some toing and froing between ourselves and the inspector post the hearing sessions in May and June of this year. But it's an important part of the process. And it's not unique. And in fact, a lot of local plans have fallen recently because they've not even passed the duty to cooperate, which we did. So, just to reassure members that we are on track to have an adopted local plan based on the work that we've done so far and where the inspector has got us to in terms of the main modifications. Thank you.
Thank you again to both of you. Do any members have any questions for our double act? No, they have been let off the hook. So are all members happy to agree and note the update that's been given to us this evening? Yes, we have a clear show of hands. Okay, item number 5 is item number 6, sorry, is the town deal and future high street funds update. Now, do we have a double act here? It's just Councillor Sweeney then, a firm shake of the head from Mr. McKenny. Councillor Sweeney, please.
I think Councillor Sweeney will start. Okay. Mr. McKenna might come in later. Right, everybody, thank you. I'll do what I always do with this. I'll just run through what's written down. Future High Street Fund money, now that's all gone, it's all spent. Market improvements just been finished. The TV screens in, as we can all see. Astley Place, I think if you were here for Remembrance Sunday, you can remember seeing some guys leaning over it, watching the events. And if you go past there now, hear banging and thumping and obviously work in progress. So that's coming on nicely. The Ride Park, Castle Car Park is done, finished, up and running. McCarthy and Stone Residential Development, we're still working through things with them. Ride Park is, well, I said Henry Boot to undertake the Ride Park construction works, site clearance commenced in October 25 and completion expected in late 26. Newcastle Down Deal, that's car parks, that's the Midway car park as we know. Picture of it on here, as I think I said before, and I'm sure Councillor Grocott will back this up, me saying this, there is a better picture than this somewhere looking up at it. And it looks absolutely fantastic. And I'm really, of all the things we're doing, this is the one that I'm going to be fascinated to see how that comes out. As Performing Arts Centre's open, Nutton Cheston, nice picture there for you. Councillor Grocott, you like that? Showing progress, that's an acacia, isn't it, looking downwards. Next one is the Enterprise Centre, which is virtually done, but I think there's been problems with the County Council getting the substation working, so they're working that through. The plans for Village Hall, we couldn't get anybody to run the place, so we sort of changed it a little bit and having a number of industrial units with a community room attached. Any news on that, Councillor Grocott? Have you? No, with a room attached. The Whammy picture, that's up and running now. That's Newcastle Town running that. Over the page again. Another nice picture for you, Dave. More houses there coming on nicely. Zanzibar Enterprise units. They started preparatory work now. You can see sort of diggers and things like that in there. So that's all gone through. All the finance and everything's been sorted for this. Everything's done. Contracts are signed, ready to rock and roll. Walk-in cycling provision. We all saw the work out here. That was all done. Sustainable travel. That's the thing at Keele that's coming out. The new bus entrance at Keele. That's I think it's got over its problems and is progressing nicely. Sustainable travel. And that's what I talked about. Digital Society is up and running with having the coffee shop on the ground floor. I think that gives a bit of a oomph to it. EV charging points is done. Digital infrastructure, we're waiting for bids for that. Kisgrove Town Deal, Chatterley Valley, fantastic development. I mean, Councillor Stubbs isn't here, unfortunately, because I know he hates it, but I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's 1,800 jobs coming into the area. Kisgrove train station works, that all gone through planning. Canal pathways, I believe Councillor Allport was very praiseworthy on that. What a good job, and I always bang about the canals and how much money there is in boats, and it's a good thing to push. And if you're into boats at all, Harecastle Tunnel is a huge site on the canal network. And of course, James Brindley is buried in Newchapel. Enterprise units on the meadows and highway improvements, that's all going through. That's about it. I haven't got a lot else to add apart from that. It's really quite exciting now. And now that we can see things actually happening, and we can see workmen on site and people going on with fluorescent jackets, it really shows that things are coming together now. And I think Newcastle is going to be a great place in a couple of years. Well, it's a great place now, but an even better place in a couple of years. Thank you.
So just the loan shark then. Any questions for Councillor Sweeney? Councillor Grocott, you are more than happy to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, just obviously coming back to last week, it came in front of Finance, which obviously was put there. Councillor Holland chairs that one. Thanks to all the officers and everything that is going forward, especially in Chesterton. It's absolutely fantastic what's happening. So I can only thank people on that one. And yeah, well, like I say, the pictures are much appreciated. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
That's twice. That's one.
Anybody else like to say something? Councillor Gordon.
Just a couple of questions, if I may, Chairman. Just on Astley Place, we are on timetable with that. The reason I ask is that I'm around the town centre a fair bit, and there were periods during the autumn when not much seemed to be happening. You know, as long as we're on track, and I think I always believe you should give credit where credit is due. And I have to say, I think the Keel in the Town project is a really excellent example of partnership working. And I think it's a real asset for the town centre. and something that this authority should be proud of. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you,
thank-
Richard. I agree entirely with you on the Keelan Town. It's coming on nicely. Do you want anything to want to add, Sam, about the timetable for the Astley?
We are on track. It will be finished this time next year.
Thank you for your kind words, Councillor Gorton. Anybody else would like to ask anything of our selected panel here this evening? No? Okay then, so it just remains for me to say our members happy to note the recommendations of this report and receive the update. Yes, that's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, item 7 is the work programme. The next meeting is on the 19th of March 2026, where we will have a further local plan update and a town deal and future high street fund. There will also be a car parking strategy. The HS2 update is still pending. Not much, no, it's not pending. We're not going to get that. So we might as well even just ignore that it's pending. Nobody wishes to add to the work programme? No? Okay, items 8 is the public question time, which I have not received any letters or questions from any member of the public. Item 9 is urgent business, which I believe I don't have any urgent business that I've been made aware of. So the next meeting will, as I've just said, be held on Thursday, the 19th of March. All that's left for me to say is, hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a safe journey home. Thank you. Good night.